Hello, everybody. Excited Utterance here. My name's Hella, and I'm not smiling today. So hard for me not to smile. When I go live, it's really hard for me not to smile because I'm like, it's nice to see you all. It's nice to see you. I'll stop it. Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about changing the music. I'm sick of it. Sick of it. Want new music. Want new music. I'm gonna get a new outro song. Sean the other day was like, "Can you play that for me again?" After we went backstage, he went, "Can you play that for me again, like bit by bit, so I can hear all the lyrics?" Because he was hearing other stuff. Yeah. Hey, good to see you, Melissa. Hey, how are you? How are you? Marco. Sup, Chinny? Chinny, my friend. My friend Chinny, how are you? Mate, I feel like we've just come through like a war or something. I am so like angry. Like, and 24 hours have passed more, and I've had time to think about it. And yesterday, I made like a 10-minute video yesterday, and I was more just like sad then, right? I was more sad about the verdict. Sorry if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Indiana versus Richard Allen and him being found guilty on all charges in the murders of Abby and Libby. Yeah. So yesterday I was just kind of dumbfounded and sad. I've had 24 hours to think about it, and now I am angry. And I know it's kind of not the done thing to be angry at the jury, but I am angry at the jury. I'm angry at the jury. And yeah, and I'm not apologizing for that. No, I'm done. I am sick of juries convicting people on emotion. I am sick of juries not taking their responsibility seriously. I am sick of them not understanding the burden that they have. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest standard in the land. You are taking on the responsibility of somebody else's life when you make those decisions. How that jury could have come to that conclusion based on that set of facts, that just blows my mind, right? That absolutely blows my mind, and it happens over and over and over again, and I'm sick of it. Sick of it. I can't get over it. If this were the first time, I would be like, oh, well, that's an anomaly. Maybe they saw something I didn't. But nope. It happens over and over and over again, and it makes me think that they're... Okay, so here's the thing. It made me think yesterday. I was like, okay, the problem must be that they just don't understand what this level of proof is that they're supposed to have, right? They mustn't get it, right? It mustn't be explained properly. And then I thought, well, it's not. And I went Googling, right? And I said, so what is a reasonable doubt? What is beyond a reasonable doubt? And I got all these different explanations. All right. And it even said it's not defined. It's not defined in the law. It's not, it's explained differently by different practitioners, explained differently in different courts. In fact, it's specifically not defined so that different courts can say it differently. Sometimes judges don't allow the prosecution or the defense to specifically explain it. They just have their jury instructions and the judge just reads out. If you don't find there to be enough evidence, you must render a not guilty verdict, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it. You've heard it. You can't judge based on emotion. And it's just the standard sort of soliloquy. And I feel like that jurors just sort of nod off. And then they just... The other thing is they're told not to make their decision based on emotion. Do you think they can do that? They're human beings. They have to go with whatever the jury instructions say. Yeah, right? And it's different everywhere. Why is there not some standard education for jurors on the importance, the gravity of this? It just feels like they're not... It just feels like juries don't get that this is that level of proof. It's up here. Right? Josie, I still can't believe, even with the evidence they did have, that they didn't have doubt. Yeah. I know. That's the other thing, right? That's the other thing that is just blowing my mind, right? They didn't need all that other stuff. They didn't need all that odinous stuff. They didn't need the third-party culprits. What they did have was so little, right? Hey, crypto tax lawyer, they're unable to separate emotion and bias from fact. Yeah, so that's... I need to talk about confirmation bias for a minute, right? So, defendant walks into the courtroom. They're already on the back foot, aren't they? So they're already in this situation where, regardless, it doesn't matter that they're not in jail clothes. The jury knows. They're not stupid, right? The jury knows that he's on charges of 2 counts of murder of 2 girls, right? Of course he's been incarcerated, right? Of course he is a prisoner of the state. He's the bad man. He's already the bad man. Yeah? So even with the presumption of innocence, he's not really got the presumption of innocence, does he? Right? So they're already looking at him like he's the perpetrator. He really has to prove his innocence in their eyes. Now, you can tell them, no, he's innocent, and the state needs to prove their case, but that's not really true. Let's not kid ourselves, right? That's not really true, because the jury are sitting there going, yeah, okay, we'll try, but they really think he's a bad man from the beginning. And then maybe they might start to have some doubts about whether he's the bad man based on how good the state's case is. That's not how it's supposed to work at all. The burdens have been reversed in modern courtrooms. Yes! Yes! When did it change? Guys, when did it change? Miss Smith, very high bar for everyday citizens to overcome. He wouldn't have been arrested for no reason. That's what they think. That's what they think. They're like, oh, well, they wouldn't have just picked up just anybody. Yeah, they wouldn't have bothered to interrogate just anybody. They wouldn't have bothered to test a bullet and match it to just anybody's gun. right? Oh, he put himself there. No, he did what you asked the public to do, and that is call and let you know if you are at that hiking trail that day. He did what you asked him to do. He did what you asked, and that is call and say, hey, I was there. This is what I saw that day. He said he saw 3 girls, not 2, 3. He did what you asked, right? He reported that, and 5 years passed. He didn't move. He didn't leave. He didn't do anything that a guilty person would do. That is run away, right? You'd think he would run away. And then after hours and hours and hours of them saying, you did it, you did it, you did it. This bullet is there. He's like, no, it's not. That's not my bullet. How could that be? After hours and hours and hours of that Reed technique interrogation, he did not crack at all. It took 13 months of being in a lit up room, fed God knows what garbage. And I'm not just talking food, I'm talking them yelling at him, because there were guards, and the jury didn't hear this, but there were guards with Odin patches who were saying that we're going to kill your family. If you don't say that you killed Abby and Libby, we're going to kill your family. Kathy, who you love, we're going to kill her. Right, so you better start saying it. Oh, hey, Sleuthy Goosey, how are you? Good to see you. Great work over this trial. Thank you for all your hard work. I'm so angry right now. What can we do to... I'm jumping around. I'm so worried for Brian Kohberger now. I'm so worried for anyone who faces a trial and is innocent. They have no hope. Juries love to put people in prison, right? They feel like that's their job. Why? What's with that? I can count on one hand the amount of acquittals that I've witnessed in the last couple of years. They just don't happen. They just don't happen. And I think it's because they just don't understand their burden. I really think that's what it is. Bring back civics classes. Okay, so I'm not an American. You guys tell me, what did these civics classes exist back when, Gen X was in school? Tell me about civics classes. Did you guys learn about what the burden of proof is and or what a reasonable doubt is? When was that? Who amongst you learnt that stuff? You did, Janet? You did? I never had a civics class, no. I'd love to know. I'm a millennial and it wasn't taught to us at all. I'm not surprised, Ariel, from what I see out there. Seems to me that people just don't have a goddamn clue. Not in high school or college. Hey, Sleuthy, my kid's school does it in 5th grade. Oh, really? You did it too? Okay, well, it's good to know that it's happening now, but okay, 5th grade. So does your kid, and I mean, you're more educated on it, but like if you were to ask your kid, what is the burden of proof? What can you talk to me about? Could you explain to me what the burden of proof means in a criminal case? Could your kid come back to you and tell you? And would it be because of like what you do, Sleuthy, or would it be more because of what they learn in school? I'd love to know. Well, my kid's only in 1st grade right now. What kind of stuff are they learning? I'd love to know. Because do they learn more when they get like to the higher grades? You're going to make sure he can. Yeah, good for you. NY had a participation in government class that was mandatory in the 90s and 00s. Really? Because I am truly blown away by how bad this situation is. And it seems to be getting worse. It seems to be getting... Am I imagining it? Tell me it's not just me, right? Like, at the moment, and I'm going to refer to the Koberger case because it's one I'm really familiar with. I feel like the only way Brian Koberger would, assuming he's innocent, and I think he's the wrong guy, right? I feel like the only way he could be not acquitted, but the only way he's not going to be found guilty is if there is a discovery violation or something like that that occurs prior, so he never actually goes to trial. And that's possible. It's very possible. There's that many shenanigans going on. It's possible. But if he goes to trial, I think he's screwed. I think he's going to get found guilty based on that little teensy-weensy little bit of transfer DNA, and assuming that the motions to suppress aren't successful, assuming that, then the cell data, those blurry pictures of some car, I think that they'll find him guilty based on just those really very, very small bits of evidence. And how much doubt is there left? He doesn't know those people. He never met them. Right? I think they'll find him guilty. It'll be something like a 6-8 week trial, and I think they'll find him guilty. So I think he's got no hope. Based on what I just saw happen in Indiana, thanks to Andrea, by the way, because we wouldn't have even seen it. We wouldn't have even known. You just don't buy the girl story downstairs. I can't wait to hear it properly. But he's the bad man, right? As Sean says, and Sean explains this really, really well because he puts it in like very simple terms. They put the bad man up there, or the bad woman. They put the bad man up. Bad man walks in. They go, well, he's a bad man. And the jury just believes it. It's very hard to get past that. It's very hard to get past that. Now I'm like, if he doesn't get convicted on the transfer DNA, then I'm going to be even more dumbfounded about what happened here with Rick. Yeah, I know. He will. I'm really sorry to say it, Lucy, but he will. He's going to get convicted on the transfer DNA. Sleazy, I don't know how much you know about the Zachariah Anderson case, but he got convicted on a pinhead of touch DNA on the back of a van. A pinhead. It was so small they couldn't even test it to see whether it was blood or not. They decided it was blood because it looked kind of like blood. It was too small to test. Yep. Hey, budget witness. I can't believe they didn't test the hair until 2 weeks ago. You have long hair too, Helen, as I do. My hair is everywhere. It never has gotten wrapped around my fingers by being on clothing. Oh, but you can't talk about that because that would be implicating the family, you see. And only sick, disgusting YouTubers do that. You can't be doing that. No. Or we would have only heard Lauren's version. Look, She had an extra person in the courtroom too, didn't she? She took up 2 seats. Hey, Matt B, maybe. The public was highly tainted. Oh, you said tainted. You trying to cheer me up? The public was highly tainted by the media in Delphi, and Alan has enough against him to be considered guilty by an average person. See, this is the problem, though, right? This is the problem. It's supposed to be a jury of your peers, right? So Rick Allen is from Delphi, right? These are his peers. He just worked at the local CVS, right? He was an average person too. He should be able to rely on his neighbors to use their best judgment and also to apply the law. What went wrong? What went wrong? They did not understand the assignment, did they? Yeah? So they didn't understand what was being asked of them. And this happens over and over and over again. So my question to you guys, chat, is do you think that they just didn't understand what beyond a reasonable doubt is? Or do you think they didn't care? Do you think that they felt like they had to find him guilty? Because that's possible too. That's possible too. Because I'm legit. I'm looking around YouTube, Google, etc. I'm looking for the best explanations that I can find. I went to Jose Baez's closing argument in the Casey Anthony trial, and he started to explain to the jury how high of a burden it was, how important that was, and how you should not be bringing emotion into this. And he pointed out, because of the fact that the prosecution had just done their first part of their closing argument, they had put on some sort of slideshow or something showing Kaylee and how beautiful she was, and gotten their emotions going. And he said, and he brought up a piece of paper that said, you're not to base your decision on emotion. And he said, well, this is what the state has tried to get you to do. They're trying to appeal to your emotion. You're not allowed to do that. And Kaylee was beautiful, but you need to discount that and make your decision based on the evidence. And it's unfortunate, but you need to put all that aside, because this is a very, very high burden of proof, and it's on the state. We don't actually have to prove anything, although we have. He won the unwinnable case. When it comes down to it, whatever you think of Jose Baez, whatever you think of that case, if you think that Casey Anthony should have been found guilty, it's not really relevant. He made a good argument, and he was successful. He convinced that jury to take it seriously. So, I mean, good for him. Hey, Evie, how are you? Yeah. I have a feeling jurors won't be talking for a while, if ever. Something fishy, I don't know. I don't think the jurors are going to talk. I think that there's something in this gag order. I think the reason that... Okay. Judge Gull, she does these gag orders, and she keeps things quiet for a reason. And she's done this to buy time so that the jurors will now be able to, in the cloak of silence, find out what they're going to find out, and also realize that there is this split in the community, and that if and when they decide to talk, they're going to face a lot of backlash. Because if they were to just come out and be accosted or tempted by filthy YouTubers or whoever, which there's already been offers. I've seen offers from YouTubers. Please come and talk to us. We'll be nice to you. If they were to make a quick decision to do that, then they might not be aware that they're going to face a lot of scrutiny. So now they have a month to make that decision. Isn't that nice of Judge Gull? So protective of the jurors who've made the right decision as far as she's concerned. Yeah, I think she's played this one. She's played this one. Crypto tax lawyer, I'm looking into Gull. I know others have, but I want to see it for myself. I found 4 habeas complaints in the past few years, not totally abnormal for district court judge, but a little weird. Oh, she not clean. She not clean. Judge Gull is not clean. But it takes a lot to get rid of a judge. She have to step down. And she just won't. Like, she's stubborn. She's a stubborn old bag. I'll say what I like. I'm over here. She's a stubborn old bitch. I mean, look at the juror 4-person in Jennifer Crumbley case. She said it really came down to she was the last one with the gun. 3 days earlier, what happens in that 3 days? Jury didn't care. Yeah. I'm not going to get into that case because it's really divisive and it's not the topic, but I get what you're saying, Ariel. And that juror, she was popular with a lot of people, but she was super unpopular with a lot of others. She faced a lot of scrutiny. And that's what happens. These big, high-profile cases, they can draw a lot of fire for the jurors who decide to speak, right? And I wouldn't. If I were one of those jurors on this case here, this Delphi case, I would not be speaking. I would be quiet. I'd be angry. I'd be super angry about the stuff that's been held back. I'd be considering an affidavit but can you? That's right. Well, the affidavits you can do an affidavit as juror X or juror something or other, can't you? You don't have to put your name. Keep that under seal. I'd be considering doing an affidavit under seal, saying that I feel that there was wrongdoing, and I would like to I know if I felt there was some sort of misconduct going on, I would want to put an affidavit in, but I would want my name suppressed. I would want my name suppressed, absolutely. Like in the Murdoch case. So those jurors who put those affidavits together, their names were suppressed, and eventually some came out. But yeah, it's tricky. I don't envy the situation that they're in, but that doesn't make me any less mad at the fact that they didn't take their job seriously enough. It's possible jurors may not know what they don't know. Not yet, maybe not, no. Some may just go about their lives and not want to look at coverage. Maybe. We don't know. We don't know. I can't prove there's any misconduct with the jury, but I have a passing thought that they were tampered with. Oh, I think there's plants in there. I think there's at least one plant in there. I'll say that flat out. I think there's probably someone from the Masonic Brotherhood or whatever they're called. You know how Brad Holder and McClelland are both Masonic brothers. There's probably at least one of them in there. Yeah, we can't prove it. But, oh yeah, there's so much. There is so much. If you're interested in this, I recommend you read the Defense Franks motion from September 2023. It's a long read. It's 150 odd pages or so. You don't have to read the whole thing. There's a really good table of contents at the beginning showing you which who's mentioned in which sections. If any of the names ring a bell, like Elvis Fields, for example, yes, Brad Holder, Ron Abrams, there's so many rabbit holes that you can dive down just from looking at that one document and going, oh, that name, okay, and you'll see where to start looking. And then I recommend that you go to All Eyes on Delphi, go to the Twitter account for All Eyes on Delphi, go to the top of the profile, and then click through to the website, and there is a goldmine there of documents on every aspect of the case, all of the if there's been any interviews with those people, if there's court documents, they're all there. They're all there. People have gone to a lot of work to document all this. All Eyes is fantastic. Sleuthy's fantastic. And sorry, I can't possibly mention everyone who's done a lot of work on this, but it's all gone now, isn't it? Like, sorry to say it, but it feels like all of this work that so many people have done, this makes me so mad. All this work that so many people have done to expose the truth, whilst that man, Richard Allen, was in a prison cell being tortured, is now, it's just, what's the point? It feels like, what's the point? Because those people are laughing. Those people, like your Elvis Fields, like Keegan Kline, the child abuser or child predator who was stalking Libby on her phone under the name Anthony Shots. He had planned to meet up with them that day on the bridge. All of these things, all of these leads, all of these things that people have spent so many hours meticulously investigating, it's all just gone. It feels like, okay, maybe I'm just being really negative because I'm so mad. But it feels like it's all just gone. Because it won't make any difference now, will it? I know Bob Motter has done some great document streams as well. I'm sorry, he's not somebody that I've followed as much, so I don't give I should be giving him more credit. Apologies for that. He's just not someone that I've been following as much. So, yeah. Who is Keegan? Right. So Keegan Klein. Fortunately, he is in prison for 43 years. So, yeah, he is not hurting any other kids, thank God, because those kids, Abby and Libby, they weren't the only ones that he was contacting. He was contacting lots of kids under two profiles. One of them was called Anthony underscore shots, and he was using male models' photos as like catfishing, right? So he was catfishing. He was talking to them on social media, saying, that he was a boy kind of their age, like teenager, cute looking boy, and he would like to meet up with them at the bridge that day. Now, he supposedly was a recluse and never planned to actually leave his house, and his phone data also supposedly said that he didn't actually leave his house that day. But who's to say that he wasn't in cahoots with somebody else? Just because he wasn't the one who went to the Monon High Bridge doesn't mean that he wasn't setting up somebody else to be there. We don't know, beautiful waterfall. Is that why the girls went there that day? We don't know for sure, right? But we know that he was talking to them, and we know that he made plans with them. So how sus is that, right? We know that Richard Allen had nothing to do with these girls. Zero. Nothing to do with these girls. Yeah? Now, there are people out there on the internet right now who are saying, well, you know what? Richard Allen could have testified, and he could have said that he didn't do it, that all those confessions were forced, that he didn't even see them. That might have convinced the jury. Or Kathy could have testified, and she could have said, that's not my husband in the photos, that's not him, he's not Rich Guy, right? So there are people out there right now who are having just a celebration right now and trying to rub this in our faces, the people who believe in Rick Allen. And that is not how this works. The defense does not have a burden to prove anything. Right? True? Again, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how the justice system works, isn't it? And yeah, you're right, Chinny. The state made sure RA was too mentally unwell to testify. Yeah, he wasn't well enough. He wasn't well enough. Who knows what he would have been like up there on the stand? Who knows if he can even get words out? Who knows? Right? And everyone has Fifth Amendment right to silence, that he should not be judged for not testifying. Okay, so, and then on to this idea of Kathy and whether or not she should have gotten up there and said, that's not my husband in those photos. Okay. Well, she's been traumatized enough, I think. Yeah. Okay, to be fair, could have doesn't equal has to. Yeah, right, Alpha Fox? Adam? Yep. The defense does have a burden to prove some things depending on the circumstances, affirmative defenses, etc. Yeah, okay, so you're referring to like a self-defense case or something like that. They have some burdens, but in this case, this is not their responsibility to put Kathy up on the stand and say, that's not my husband. None of the state witnesses identified RA as a person they saw, BG. And this whole idea of Bridge Guy being this boogeyman and being the centerpiece of their case, I find that to be a bit of a distraction, to be honest. I find that to be a bit of a distraction. The reason I find that to be a distraction is because there's this whole other really important piece of evidence that I think the jury overlooked, and it was right in front of their eyes the entire time. And that's those crime scene photos. Right? And this is actually why I'm maddest at the jury. Right? They missed something so obvious. Right? Those crime scene photos were right in front of their eyes. And yet they missed that was not a rushed killing. That does not line up with the story that the prosecution was pushing. They were pushing a story that Rick Allen just hurried up and he was going to just like rape them, but then a van spooked him and so he quickly murdered them. What? Based on that crime scene, that's impossible. That's impossible. That does not line up with that crime scene. So how did they get that result from that crime scene beyond a reasonable doubt? I don't get it. I don't get it. How did they come to that conclusion? They're so busy trying to figure out whether or not Bridge Guy has the same voice as Rick Allen in the interrogation. I reckon that's what they were doing when they were asking for more evidence to be shown in the courtroom on Saturday. Because that's what they asked to see. They asked to see the Bridge Guy video and the interrogation on Saturday. They didn't ask to see the crime scene photos again or anything like that. That's what I thought that they'd be wanting to see. Crime scene photos. But no. Crime scene that was missing blood and had one of those sticks was sawn off. Who takes time to saw off a stick and place it in a particular shape? Mads, I don't know. I hope they had the photos with them. I hope. I wouldn't be surprised if Judge Gull didn't give them anything. And hi, Nick. How's it going? Where are you? Nick. Unless they go for insanity defense or self-defense, the defense has zero burden of proof. Yes, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, insanity or self-defense. Hi, Aunt Clara. Ginny, where did Andrea talk of tarot card? I was too angry and upset yesterday. I had to step away. She spoke about the tarot cards. Someone in chat brought up that the shape of Abby was in the shape of the Hangman tarot card. But people have been questioning whether or not, how can that be, because she wasn't hanging upside down. She wasn't found hanging upside down. However, the flow of blood, the marks, flow of blood on her skin suggests that she was inverted at some point. And also, because she lost a lot of blood and there wasn't blood lying around, where did this inversion happen? So she was probably hung from a tree somewhere else. Or Sean mentioned to me yesterday, I think it might have been backstage, that that could have been like a bucket or something like that, and it was taken away. The state's theory was just so unbelievable. That's why I can't understand the verdict. Yes, and Christy Lee, why redress just one of them in a hurry? Why kill them in that way? If you're in a hurry, if you're spooked by some van, and by the way, what kind of ridiculous piece of information that only the killer can know is just a van? A van. He didn't even say the color, by the way. He didn't say white. He just said a van. Oh yeah, that's the information that only a killer could know. A van. Spooked by a van and had to run away. So he just quickly killed them. That crime scene does not depict a quick, I need to get away from here killing. I don't know how many of you people, guys in chat, have seen the crime scene photos. I'm sorry if you have. You don't need to have, though. There is a sketch getting around that's really accurate and non-offensive. But I don't want to show it on stream. But the sketch that's getting around, color sketch, shows everything you need to see really quite well. The crime scene is not, there is just no way in a million years that is a quick killing. It just, and the idea that those sticks are there for camouflage, they're not camouflaging anything. They're just not. How did the jury overlook this and go, oh, beyond a reasonable doubt, yes, that we feel that the evidence provided convinces us that there's no possible other outcome that's reasonable. This is the only reasonable decision that we can come to. That this man did it in this way. Yes, we agree. Yes, he should be found guilty of all charges. He kidnapped them and he murdered them. Yes, everything adds up. Oh, hey, Andrew, how's it going? Jurors do not understand the concept of reasonable doubt because they are instructed on the concept too late in the trial and then poorly. Thank you for weighing in on that, and thank you for your super chat. How are you, Andrew? Good to see you, mate. I am so pissed off right now. I am so pissed off right now. Dude, I feel like the only way to win against the state is to be Alec Baldwin. Pretty much. You got to be Alec Baldwin. Dude, I'll tell you guys, I've heard one kind of decent explanation of reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt. It doesn't quite cut it, but it at least gets to the personal sort of gravity of it, and that's from Jim Griffin, Alex Murdoch's lawyer. Um, he puts it like this. He says, imagine that you're making one of the biggest decisions of your life. All right. So imagine that you are buying a house, and that house is going to be your family home. And you're doing all the checks on it, like you're getting the building check done, and you're getting the pest check done, and you're checking that it's structurally stable, and you're getting your finances in order, and you're going through that process. And you're just at that point where you're about to do the final sign over, and that point where you just can't go back. And you get that niggling feeling, like you've got this feeling that something's wrong. That's reasonable doubt. That's that doubt that you need to look into and really go and search and think, hang on, what's wrong? Right? So you think that you've covered everything, and then something just doesn't feel right. What is it? What's missing? Because if there's something missing, if something doesn't feel right, and you're about to make a really big decision in your life, then you're about to make a really big decision for somebody else. And if you're not willing to make that big decision for you, then it's even more important that you can't make that decision for somebody else. So if you're undecided in any way whatsoever, if there's any feeling of being undecided, then you need to let that person be not guilty. I like that better than all of the explanations of, oh, well, you have a bag of chips and you make this decision that you are going to believe that the bag of chips has chips in it because you have no reason to assume that there's not chips in it because the chip company makes chips and it says that there's chips on the outside. So you go to the shop and you trust that there's chips in it. So you go and buy the chips and you go home believing that there's chips in it, and you open it, and if there's not chips in it, then that was not really based on any reasonable doubt that there wasn't going to be chips in it. So, like, those sorts of arguments, I feel, are like trivializing what reasonable doubt is, because you're talking about like things that aren't really important in people's lives. Whereas when you talk about something important, like making a life decision and then putting it onto somebody else, I feel like that makes people really think about what they're doing and how it affects somebody else. Yeah, it's fucking pretzels, not chips. You shake the bag. Yesterday, when I was looking through YouTube and I was like going through all the explanations of reasonable doubt, I kept getting all these chip analogies. I was like, what is this stupid shit? Chips, really? These are defense attorneys, like with 2-3 minute videos, and they were talking about chips. I'm like, really? You actually explain to your juries that it's about chips? Like, this is the metaphor you use? Really? Not every third party defense argument should be allowed. Many are just evidence-free fantasies, but I didn't follow this particular trial. Yeah. Look, Andrew, despite the fact that the third-party evidence wasn't allowed, it was still such a flawed case by the prosecution. It was so flawed. When it comes down to it, though, Andrew, and I'm sure what probably tipped the scales for the jury is the confessions. Now, he confessed in quite a, there's no other way to put it, in a psychotic state. In prison, because he was in prison during his pretrial stage. They put him into Westville Prison in solitary confinement for 13 months for his own safety. Yes. In a lit up room, no darkness, so his circadian rhythm was ruined. And then they injected him with a drug called Haldol 3 times. So it's a drug that lasts a month, and it's supposedly an antipsychotic. But it can have the opposite effect, and it pretty well mushes your brain. Gives you a bit of a chemical lobotomy there. And he started just speaking gibberish. He said that he started World War III. He said he killed several other people. And he did all sorts of very, very unusual things. There was... I won't even go into it here, but he did chat, you can tell, Andrew, but he did some things that were pretty shocking. And during that time, he was being goaded by the guards to, you just admit it, just admit you did it, just admit you did it, admit you did it, admit you did it. And he, to the prison psychologist, to his wife, etc., he eventually broke down and went, fine, I did it, I killed Abby and Libby, I did it, fine. And he actually said, I'll say anything they want me to say. And of course these recordings were played to the jury. And regardless of the defense's expert saying, look, he was psychotic, he had a psychotic break, this and that, the jury just, I don't think that they could get past the fact that he said he did it. It's disgusting that this can happen in the USA or anywhere. It's like the stories of prisoners of war. Really, this is a man supposedly innocent in the eyes of the law, even if he wasn't, even if this was somebody who was found guilty, to be treated this way. It really shook me up, Andrew. It's just, how? Oh yeah, was he being goaded? Absolutely. Alpha Fox had him. In fact, more so than that, Alpha Fox, what didn't come in, and I'm not sure how much you know about this, but the prison guards, those were the prison guards with the Odin patches, and they also were saying that they were going to kill Kathy. We're going to kill your wife, Kathy, if you don't say that you murdered Abby and Libby. So make sure you say it. Say it again. Say it again. Rick Allen was scared to death that Kathy was going to get murdered. And those prison guards were told to remove their Odin patches from their uniforms. One of them, Randy Johnson, I think his name is, once he was told to remove his Odin patches, he went and got a Odin spear tattooed to his face. Yeah. He also confessed to killing his wife while talking to his wife. Yep. Hey, Andrew. Obviously, I do not have any informed opinion on this particular case. I didn't watch even a minute of it. Just speaking generally. Oh, sorry, I didn't get your last one. Keep in mind that every investigation is shoddy in some matter. There are no perfect investigations. Oh, yeah. Look. Hey, Brendan. 60 confessions is a lot, though. That ain't normal. The state didn't prove anything, but it's hard to fault the jury with what they were given. No, it's not hard to fault the jury with what they were given. They saw his behavior in that prison cell. They saw video of it. They saw him rolling his head back in a psychotic break. Right? They saw the way he was treated. They saw him naked on the floor, thrashing about. And they saw the difference between that Rick Allen and the Rick Allen before he went into that cell. And he was rambling, right? So when you can say 60 confessions as much as you like, but he was rambling. He was like, did I tell you I did it? I tell you I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. Right? So it wasn't like 60 individual confessions. He was just blah, 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 verbal diarrhea. Right? So there's a difference. And I do blame the jury because the jury was distracted by this stupid video of Bridge Guy, which looked nothing like him. And also, they had these crime scene photos which did not align at all with the story, right? So these crime scene photos depicted a very specifically laid out pattern of sticks that did not in any way show camouflage or anything like that. There was a girl who had been bled out. She'd been washed and redressed. And this is supposedly a quick killing because he was spooked by a van. There was a stick that had been sawn off to make a shape. They ignored all this stuff. They just ignored it. It was like, oh, okay, there's nothing unusual about that crime scene. Nothing to see here. We'll just listen to all this other stuff the state's feeding us. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. The jury has a job to do, and they deliberated for a few days. Yeah. I said, I think I killed them. That was a confession. I want to tell the family I'm sorry. Another confession. That's how you get 61 confessions. Yep. Yep, you're right, Sarah. It wasn't like that. It wasn't just... Okay, so let's imagine like a coherent confession. So, sir, I'd like to have a conversation with you. So I need to tell you something. I would like to formally admit now that I killed Abby and Libby. Can I sign that piece of paper now? Thank you very much. Okay, can I go back to my cell? Okay, thank you. Not by the way, I'd like to just make sure that you know I killed Abby and Libby. Okay, thank you, bye. Can I have my lunch now? Thank you. There you go, that's 2. So it wasn't like that, right? It was not like that at all. And the jury saw it. They saw it. Where are you getting that from, J-Rock? He confessed well before that to his wife and mum. When? Where are you getting that? Hey, badass American. Alan will still love me regardless. His mum, yes. Hey, Berry Berries. I think they've seen his behavior and also concluded he became psychotic and still did it. See, that's confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. And juries need to learn about that too. They need to learn about that too. They saw the full bridge video. Is that out yet? I don't think we'll ever see that. So apparently the full bridge video is 2 minutes or something. And the there's audio at the beginning of one of the girls saying to the other girl, "Is that creepy guy still behind us?" And then you actually see Abby move quickly across the screen. This is from Andrew's reporting. I don't know if or when we're ever going to see the exhibits. Judge Gull has control over all this. She is keeping it all so quiet. Couldn't they have done more analysis on Bridge Guy photo and show how he's stacked up against the image? Maybe. They were short on funds too. That's the other thing. Beautiful Waterfall. They did not have 2 pennies to rub together after they got just the witnesses that they could get, the experts that they got. It was not like, one thing Koberger has over this is they have witnesses. They have 35 expert witnesses. They have a decent budget over in Idaho for because it's a death penalty case. This one, they actually had to crowdfund for expert witnesses. His first confession was after almost 6 months in solitary. Yes, Just Jen. So J-Rock, I don't know where you're getting that one from. See, J-Rock, here's my problem, right? My issue with the jury is that I don't think they understood the assignment, right? I have an issue with the jury not understanding what beyond a reasonable doubt means. And I have an issue with this a lot recently, and this one, I'm gonna call it out. And I'm sticking to this. Have a go at me as much as you want, J-Rock, but I really don't think that juries are taking it seriously. I don't think they're taking it seriously. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest level of evidence in the land. It is so important. This affects someone's life. It's huge. Check my DMs, Nick. Okay. I just don't think they get it. And I don't think they're trying to get it. So Nick has just sent me, false memories of crime appear real when retold to others. Okay, I'll share that to the screen. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Chloe, for Chloe Abbott's Revenge. This is exposing a vulnerability in our justice system. What happens when a judge goes rogue? Yeah, that's true. That's true. J Rocker says, "Hella grabbed the popcorn." Oh, we like to argue. J Rock and I, we're old mates, but we do argue. Okay, so false memories of crime appear real when retold to others. Can I get to this link? Hang on, I'm just picking it up. 2 seconds, guys. False memories, as their name implies, are those of places or events that have never happened. Prior research has shown that false memories can arise naturally due to cues that the mind uses to create memories of events that might have happened but did not. Prior research has also shown that it is possible to plant false memories in other people using certain psychological tricks. Notably, such tricks have been used in well-known criminal trials to push possible witnesses into remembering things that did not occur. There you go. Haldol. Haldol. Communist Russia's favorite method to get prisoners to do, say, and think what they wanted. And 45 years later, US prisons method to make prisoners do, say, and think what they want. Soviet pharmacological torture. In this picture of overall decline in pharmacological torture, there was one very significant exception. In the USSR, doctors used therapeutic drugs as a principal agent of punishment. Guys, Nick, this is full on. Good find. Soviet doctors commonly favored haloperidol. It creates intense restlessness, a condition where the patient cannot be still. It is difficult to think, walk, or sit, and impossible to lie down. Haloperidol also slows body movement and induces symptoms similar to Parkinson's disease, including frequent licking, neck spasms, and mastication. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I want to know what that is. While doctors can control these effects, Soviet doctors did not try. Wow. No, I didn't think that the jury got it wrong in Boone. Ashley Benefield, I thought that they were rushed to a decision. I didn't like that. See, people don't listen. People just assume with me. People just assume. I actually thought that the jury got it right in Boone. They went a bit quick for my liking. But I was convinced at the end of Boone. The jurors probably saw a crazy murderer capable of not only eating his own feces but also murdering teenagers who wouldn't take him out on a date. Moving the mouth, right? No, I didn't, Manny B. In the end, I was fine with murder 2. In the end, I said that was probably the right verdict. I wasn't happy with it being the charge in the beginning, but when all of the evidence finally came out, I was like, I can see it now. Okay. Anyway, how were they rushed? Are we talking about Benefield now? They had to go home that night by 9 p.m. How is that not being rushed? They came and said they were at an impasse after a few hours, and then half an hour later they had a verdict. So yes, they were rushed. I like these what do you call it? Compromise verdicts. They came to manslaughter instead of murder. I think it was. It was a lesser included. Yeah, that's right. Judge kept them until 9 p.m. and forced them to deliberate very late. That was Benefield. Yep. That's why I think that. Jury has been sequestered since beginning of trial. That's got to be right. Yeah, I agree. And so we're back onto Delphi now. Now, just with this whole drugging situation, I wanted to just say something about this Haldol thing, because it's not the only drug he was on. He was also on another drug, and it's one that I've had before. He was on a drug called Seroquel, and I don't know if anyone in chat's ever had that before, but I have, and it is really similar in terms of the side effects that it has. Has anyone here ever had restless legs? You know what that's like? It's kind of like shivers and your legs just keep moving, and you get like kind of shock kind of feeling. It is horrible. Like, I was like, get me the hell off this stuff right now. The only thing I could say about it is, at least when you stop taking it, it's not the end of the world. Like, it stops, right? But I believe with this Haldol stuff, it has like a really long half-life, so it goes on for a month. Like, you take a shot of this stuff lasts a month. So once it's in you, that's it, right? So apparently he was on Seroquel as well as Haldol, as well as something else. It might have been Xanax, but the two of them don't mix. Now, Seroquel for me was a nightmare. It was absolutely horrible. So I just remember the very short time that I had Seroquel, I wanted to die. I just was a blithering mess. It was horrible. So yeah, Prozac, that's it. Yeah, so he was on Prozac and Haldol at the same time, and people who've never had any exposure to these sorts of drugs, you can't possibly understand what they do to your brain. Like, you're obliterated by them. Like, you're just a mess. But then again, people around who see you, they know that you're not yourself. And the jury saw the videos. They saw him before and they saw him after. They saw him in that jail cell. They saw him behaving that way. How could they not see the difference between Rick before and Rick after? How could you take the words of somebody in that state seriously? I don't get that. And how could they not look at those crime scene photos and go, that is not the work of somebody who is in a rush because they're spooked by a van? Hey, sweet sativa on Seroquel. What's this about Seroquel? You gained a lot of weight and you were always hungry on Seroquel. Some people, it's fine. Some people don't report the terrible side effects, but it's quite common. It's quite common. We need stronger cope. I never smoked weed at a young age. Many teen girls that smoke weed at young age develop bipolar and schizophrenia. What's up, Blesco? We have no idea what they saw. Well, I only know what Andrea said they saw. And I guess you're right. I guess you're right. I trust her. I trust her reporting. I'll take that, Brandon. I'll take that. I'll take that. But I still stand by the fact that I don't see how this is beyond a reasonable doubt. I do not see how this is beyond a reasonable doubt. Well, it must have come across as crazy person unraveling with guilt. Maybe. The jury, to be fair, also isn't Andrea and don't regularly see cases from the defense point of view. Well, how can anyone ever get a fair trial then? Buru berries. This is where I'm coming from, right? So what do we do now? What do we do now? What happens next? because no jury ever regularly sees cases from the defense point of view, do they? So I can sit here and be as grumpy as I like about it, but we're never going to get to a point where juries just see things from a innocent till proven guilty point of view and understand that the burden is on the state and understand what the level of the level of proof is that they need to have before they are convinced beyond a reasonable doubt, right? So where do we go? What do? We go to Mars. Rex Heuermann's still innocent. Juries act on emotion too, not getting around that. Yeah, well, they do, and they're not supposed to. Like, they're supposed to disregard emotion. Good luck. Good luck with that. It's a systemic problem. People no longer have to be held accountable for their actions. Or the wrong person can be held accountable for someone else's actions. As long as the cops put them there, that's all it takes. Because they're the bad man. And this is the problem, J-Rock. This is the problem. This is the problem. What can we do? So here's the thing, right? I can't change the world. I'm just some little YouTuber with a tiny channel from Australia, right? I know a lot of lawyers, though. I know some good lawyers. I feel like, and I'm a graphic designer. I feel like there needs to be some education, something easy. Like when I search up what is beyond a reasonable doubt, there's fucking nothing. There's all this shit about bags of chips. Like, I feel like we need to. I'm gonna make something. I'm gonna get the lawyers together. I'm gonna ask them, what do you say? Like, what's your best example? How do you explain it? And I'll make a thing. And I'll get them to put it on their channels or something. I don't know. I'll put a bigger channel than mine. Whatever. I don't care where it goes. It's not going to make any difference. But I would like it to be like something searchable that actually comes up. Because this is too important. It's too important. It just pisses me off that I can't do anything about it. There's just nothing. There's nothing any of us seem to be able to do. We can't make a difference. Like, why would you dismiss the FBI when they have a theory that fits? The feds aren't good for anything. They probably have something in their data that is exculpatory. Generally, if the feds walk, it's because they've got something exculpatory. That's why. Basic civics need to be taught in school again. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that. And that's school. People forget shit later. Now, everyone's obsessed with the internet, and people's attention span is like that big. Right? So it needs to be, whatever it is, it needs to be digestible in like less than a minute. Right? So it needs to be TikTokable. That's how it works. Whatever it is needs to be really short, really, really TikTokable, really easy for people to watch. Yeah, it just needs to be something that people can wrap their head around when they're just like, they're stupid as shit. Yeah? Hey. Kicking the feds out was suspect. Yeah, it meant they had something. It meant they had something exculpatory, for sure. It meant that they had something that would make the jury doubt. They've pissed off in the Koberger case. Feds are nowhere to be seen. Feds were right there for the PCA. They were all over the PCA, and they're gone now. They ain't helping out now. They're so gone. TUI rule. The old TUI rule. In fact, the TUI rule came up in this one too. If you hear the words TUI rule, you know that there's something sus going on, right? Yup. Yeah, wow, loser footage. Yeah, no one has any attention span. So therefore, like, you need to put like a funny song behind it, and what is reasonable doubt? All right. Now I'm gonna oh, hey, Loxy, how long have you been reporting on this case? Probably about a year or so was the first time I ever touched Delphi. Maybe, yeah, September last year I started um, including it in my Sunday show. Loxy. Reasonable doubt, a doubt that you have a logical reason for. Yeah. I should create the Reasonable Doubt song and we'll go help it go viral. Yeah, kind of like my Sarah song. Kind of like my Sarah song. Sarah. Yeah. If you have ever dragged a deer from the woods, you would know it's not as easy as you would think. Right? Right? People need to understand how hard it is to carry a dead body. I know, I've tried. Sarah. All right, you guys have cheered me up. Thank you. It's nice to see you all. I probably will cover something else for a day or two to get my mind off it, and then hang on, I might make fun of Nancy Grace tomorrow. If you guys can handle that. Can you handle seeing Nancy Grace? And let's just like pay her out. Pay her out is an Australian term. That means like throw shit at her. Yeah, I might do that. So yeah, might do that. But when Andrea comes back and settles back in, I will have her on because Ella, no. Yeah. No, I'm not a Nancy Grace fan either, but I love reacting to her videos. It's great fun. It's great fun. I've got quite a few Nancy's theories on Brian Koberger reaction videos. They're good. They're fun. Just the one where she had the dish gloves. And she's like, oh, hang on, I'm going to pick up my mug, but I don't want to get my DNA on there. Hey, Joni Fee, how are you? Yeah, it was too funny. Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah, we might do that tomorrow. If you're game, come join me to make fun of Nancy Grace tomorrow. But yeah, I need to be cheered up because this whole thing is just it's been a heavy topic. Today she's Today Nancy Grace is going to put a video out where she's gone all like soft and she's like, I'm just so proud of the work we've done for Abby and Libby and the families. And they gave me this necklace. And I'm going to wear it. Yeah. She is a psychopath, hey? Like, legit. In fact, you know what I need to do? I need to do an expose on the crap she's done. Because people have legitimately hurt themselves because of the crap she's done to them in their lives. I need to go get that information and show you. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you hanging out with me and coping with me. Jurors, if any juror ever sees this, if it by some miracle pops up in your feed, look, I don't think you understood what you're being asked to do. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. So I hope that you hear why we have this opinion, or I have this opinion. I'm sure there are other people here who do too, that this was such an important decision. And I just don't understand how you came to this decision that required you to be so sure. How could you have been so sure? I don't understand. I just don't. So yeah, I'm mad about it. I am. A man is going to back to that hellhole for the rest of his life. And I don't think you took it seriously enough. I just don't. Thank you for giving up weeks of your life. But now the wrong man has gone away. That's not justice. It's just not. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that's how it's ended up. Okay, thanks everybody. I'm not going to play my outro song today. But I am going to tell you that you should follow and look up the Zachariah Anderson case, because that one will be going to appeal very soon and is really close to my heart. He also is an innocent man that was convicted March 2023. Hopefully that appeal will go ahead, because he deserves to be with his kids. Yeah. Jurors, Hella is coming for you and bringing her dingo army. I'm actually a really sweet person. I want the best for everybody. Okay. See you guys. Love you all.